In Parshas Tetzave we learn Leha Alois Ner Tamid, and the Gemara in Shabbos Rav Beis says, does the Kodesh Baruch Hu really need our light? All those 40 years that Klal Yisrael walked in the desert, they walked to HaKodesh Baruch Hu's light. Rather, it's an Eidus testimony le'bayei oilam, to all the inhabitants of the world, she'ashchina shoira be'yisrael, that there is Shechina in Klal Yisrael. But the Tosfos asks, why did the Gemara bring the 40 years that HaKodesh Baruch Hu lit the way for Klal Yisrael in the desert? Every single day since the creation of the world, HaKodesh Baruch Hu illuminates to us with His mercy the entire world. So why is it that Gemara discusses only those 40 years? But the Tosfos explained, in those 40 years, it wasn't a regular light. The Kodesh Baruch Hu had a special light that He gave Klal Yisrael. People had like X-ray vision. They were able to see what's in a barrel. The time the Sanhedrin was up and running, they would kill people. Imagine. A Gadol B'Yisrael, a Talmid Chochem, an 80-year-old man, sits and learns his whole life, and now he heads the Sanhedrin and he has to kill human beings. Why does he need this? The truth is, the Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't need us to punish the sinners. The Gemara in Ksubas Daf Lamed says that even now, when we don't have the Sanhedrin, the 4 capital punishments, Dinei Arba Misois, are not cancelled. Somebody who has to get skila, he can fall from the roof. Somebody who's Chayav Sreifa can be caught in the fire. Somebody is Nischayav Hariga. Well, muggers come and they shoot him. Somebody who's Chayav Chenek, maybe he'll drown in the river. If that's how it is, why do we need this? Because if that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us, it's a mitzvah. If a Jew violates Shabbos or he murdered someone, we have to kill him. The Torah is the one that commanded us to have judges, to have a Sanhedrin, and to execute those who have to have capital punishments. However, in the Mishnah in Makos Daf Zayin, it says that the Beis Din wouldn't rush to kill anyone. So much so that the Sanhedrin that will kill 1 in 70 years had a nickname, a lethal Beis Din. More than that, Rabbi Kiva and Reb Talfon testified on themselves that if they would sit in the Sanhedrin, they would never kill a person, ever. And the Gemara wonders, how is this possible? But we see that sometimes there are murders, sometimes pretty frequently. The Gemara says, Talfon and Rabbi Akiva had a special technique they would use. They would ask the witnesses, even if they would have a person who murdered, and there was a warning, there were witnesses, they would ask them, and how do you know that the person who was murdered was not a treifa? And you will never know. Maybe exactly in the place where the person put the sword in his heart, maybe he had a little hole there. He would die anyways. And even regarding a Mechalel Shabbos, the Tosfos is right. They could have asked the witnesses. Maybe the one who violated Shabbos was a treifa. And if that's the case, you can't even do Eidim Zoymibim, because the Eidim can always claim, we killed a person who's dead man walking. And a testimony which you can't uproot is called Eidus She'iyata Yachol Lehazima, and that is not qualified for testimony. But the Achronim ask, how in fact did Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Talfon testify in themselves that if they would have sat in the Sanhedrin, they wouldn't kill anyone? Are they greater than Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu in fact did kill in the desert the Mekoishesh. The Beis Yitzchak, Rabbi Yitzchak Shmalkis in Yoredei Yosim Elametesos Ches explains, you can't compare between the generation of the desert to the later generations. Moshe Rabbeinu killed the Mekoishesh, and he could, because as we said before, there was a very special light, like an X-ray vision. You couldn't see anything. So if the Mekoishesh was a treifa, they would have seen it from the outside. They would look at him and they would see he's a treifa inside. Therefore, the witnesses testified. And it's not considered Eidus She'iyata Yachol Lehazima, and therefore they could have killed him. But in the generation of Akiva and Rabbi Talfon, they didn't have that type of a light, and therefore it's not shayach to kill anyone, because maybe in fact he was a treifa.